Hi everyone, it's Annex and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be making a tier list out of all the creatures in ARK the Survival of the Fittest. So obviously there are some creatures here that aren't even in the game, like the Basilosaurus, which is kind of weird, but we're just going to ignore those and we're going to rank all the tameable creatures in ARK the Survival of the Fittest. So enjoy the video. So we're starting off here with the Allosaurus. The Allosaurus is a very solid creature. It's weaker than the Rex, but stronger than the Carno. It gives off the bleed effect when it's in a pack, but when it's alone, like when it's not in a pack, it's just okay, I guess. I'm pretty sure you can also use the net gun on these guys, so they're pretty easy to counter. But they do tons of damage when they're in a pack, and also relatively tanky and pretty fast. So I feel like B tier. B tier is a good fit for the Allosaurus. The Amarga. The Amarga can give off like a frozen effect, it can give off a fire effect, and I'm pretty sure it can also like give off a protection field to your own dinos. And it's also like relatively fast, and it's very tanky. So yeah, I don't know, it doesn't do that much damage compared to other creatures in SOTF. Like obviously it does a lot of damage, but maybe not that much compared to others. So I feel like I could put this above the Allosaurus in B tier. The Ankylosaurus, well, yeah. F tier is just for dinos that aren't tameable and stuff, so yeah, D tier is basically the worst tier here. Let's just, yeah, leave him there. Next up, we have the Aranio. So the Aranio in itself, it's pretty bad, but in SOTF they're incredibly strong, because when the Broodmother spawns these guys in, they spawn in packs of like 10 or something. They can also very easily get players stuck, and they do a decent amount of damage, are relatively tanky for their size, so I feel like a good fit for these guys is probably C tier. Yeah, I'd say C tier. But just because they're like very weak alone, but very strong. You know what? No, B tier because of the web. Yeah, that's solid. Archaeopteryx, that's not tameable anymore. Argentavis, not tameable. Baryonyx, in my opinion, is easily one of the best creatures in SOTF, especially when it comes to like if you want to rely on your character and use the compound bow. They're really fast, it's pretty hard to register hits on them, and if someone goes in the water, they're absolutely doomed if they're fighting a Baryonyx. It's just in general a very strong dino if you want to rely on your character more, so yeah, I'm gonna put this in A tier actually. Basilosaurus, not tameable. Beelzebufo. So the Beelzebufo is incredibly good when it comes to like agility and moving around, but it's so easy to counter because one, you can netgun it, and two, you can also grapple it, which is, yeah, a very easy counter. So yeah, even though it has amazing agility, I feel like we should probably put it at the top in C tier because of how incredibly easy it is to counter. The Bronto is kind of the same thing. It's pretty easy to counter because it's so incredibly big and the hitbox is so easy to hit. But it also deals a decent amount of damage, and it's incredibly tanky. So yeah, I feel like we could also put this in C tier, just because of how tanky it is, and the knockback, so it's pretty good in the final circles, but it's incredibly difficult to get a Brontosaurus into the final circle because of how short-lived they are. Okay, next up is the Broodmother. So the Broodmother is, in my opinion, like easily the best boss because you can spawn in these Aranios, and if you use the web spam attack, as you can see in my video, it can very easily kill big creatures like Rexes, Spinos, Gigas, and Karkars. So yeah, I don't know, I'd say it's probably stronger than the Baryonyx, and it's pretty easy to tame. You just need 600 tokens, and you have a level 3 Broodmother. So yeah, incredibly strong because it's so tanky. Only downside, like the only reason I don't put it in S tier is because it's pretty easy to counter, the hitbox is very big, and yeah, very solid creature. Carbonemis, do I have to say anything? Carnos, very solid creatures, very fast, they can induce the bleed effect, but they're also not the tankiest. They don't do the same amount of damage as many other creatures on the list, so I don't know. I'll say it's better than the Beelzebufo. I'll say high C tier. Casteroides, yeah. Shalcotherium, it's relatively tanky, and the bowling, like the rock throw thing, is so incredibly strong that I feel like we should probably put this above the Amargasaurus in B tier just because of how much damage it does, and yeah, the health is not bad either. The Carcharodontosaurus, very easy to counter because the hitbox is so big, but this is also a lot stronger than the Giganotosaurus in my opinion because it's faster, it has more stamina and stuff. And it also gives off that status effect where your Tame does less damage. So yeah, very, very strong creature. Obviously one of the strongest in SOTF. I don't think I can put it in S tier, but I think I'll put it above the Broodmother. Even though the Broodmother can counter the Karkar, I'd rather have a maxed out Karkar than a maxed out Broodmother. Compy, nah, let's be honest here. You know what? Let's put it bottom C tier just because of the incredibly small hitbox and it's hard to spot. Yeah, let's put it in C tier. Daeodon. Daeodon is incredible. It is so tanky, it can heal faster than most dinos can even damage you, and it's a good mount if you want to rely on your character with a compound bow, so for me, the Daeodon doesn't really have any downsides. It's fast and everything, so yeah, I think that's our first dino in S tier. Dimorphodon, not tameable. Diplocalus. I mean, they're insanely fast in the water, but apart from that, they're completely useless. Let's put it above the Compy. It's better than the Compy. Diplodocus, very, very, very tanky, but also can't even deal any damage, and yeah, very big hitbox, so I'll say there. I feel like it's wrong to have the Bronto here. I feel like we should, yeah, that's better. Dire Bear, another creature, one of the fastest in the game if you build up enough momentum. Deals a ton of damage. Only downside with the Dire Bear is it doesn't really have that much health. But I'd say the speed and the damage of the Dire Bear makes up for the bad health. So I'm thinking probably bottom S tier, you know? Direwolf, pretty horrible alone. But with a big pack, it does tons of damage, can shred through a Giga or Karkar. Only problem is no health. Like 1 or 2 bites, it's dead from a Rex or Karkar. So yeah, very, very strong, but very, very, yeah, weak at the same time because of the health. So I'll say above the Aranio, like there. Yeah, I feel like that fits. Dodo, let's be honest here. Doed, incredibly tanky, does a decent amount of damage, but very, very slow, and it usually ends up dying in the storm. But people have recently found out how to counter it with C4, so I'll say here. It used to be S tier because no one knew how to counter it, but now it's, yeah, I'd say B tier. Next up is the Dragon. The Dragon is not that strong. Like, it does a decent amount of damage, has a decent amount of health, but it cannot heal because none of the bosses can heal. And I'd say it's definitely worse than the Broodmother, and you can also grapple onto a spot on the Dragon, which makes it unable to hit you. So it's very easy to counter, but I'd still say top B tier because of its speed and the damage and the fire and all of that. So top B is probably a good fit for the Dragon. Equus, I don't know there. Like, you can move around on it, but that's basically it. Gallimimus, also a very good movement mount, but it's very easy to kill, like 1 or 2 comp shots and it's dead. But still very fast, still very solid. I'll put it above the Allosaurus. Giganotosaurus, almost the same as the Karkar, just has less stamina, but I think it does more damage and is more tanky. Less stamina, less movement speed, and yeah, it doesn't have the status effect. So I'll put it below the Baryonyx, actually. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I'd say the Baryonyx is probably all around better if you're good with the compound bow. Next up is one of the most underrated dinos, or underrated creatures in SOTF, the Gigantopithecus. It's actually incredibly strong, a lot stronger than people give it credit for. It's pretty tanky. It obviously doesn't have the saddle, so it takes a decent amount of damage, but it's pretty tanky, and it does a ton of damage, and it's also really funny to use because it's Bigfoot. But all in all, actually a pretty solid creature, one of the most underrated in my opinion, and I'll put it above the Carno in C tier. So it's like, it's kind of like mid, but it's like on the higher end of mid. Hesperornis, yeah. Oh no, wait, you can't even tame the Hesperornis. Hyanodon, they're pretty damn weak. I'm gonna be honest, I tried using them. Like, they do a decent, like an okay amount of damage, but the health is horrible. It's not tanky at all. I'm actually tempted to put it behind the Equus. The Iguanodon is pretty fast, and also when it runs on all 4, it doesn't use any stamina. But still, the movement speed horrible, health horrible, and melee horrible. It's just not a good creature. So I'm gonna have to put it... I think I'll put it above the Equus, actually. Or, they're pretty much the same. Like, there's not a big difference between the Equus and the Iguanodon in SOTF. But I feel like it's easier to shoot off of the Iguanodon, so we're gonna put it there. Kairuku, F tier. Capro. Capro is actually very solid. You can grapple, or not grapple, you can grab people off their tames. It has, like, an okay amount of health, not that great. Does a decent amount of melee damage. The Capra is also incredibly fast if you like spam jump, like you keep pressing the right click, and yeah, a pretty solid creature. I'll put it right below the Direwolf. Karkinos can grab people off their tames, also kind of tanky, does a decent amount of damage, but it's very easy to kill because of how slow it is. But it can also jump, so that's a pretty good thing, like it's a big upside. But all in all, I don't know, I think I might put it like there. Yeah, I'd put the Karkinos there. Kentrosaurus, not the best. It's just good for countering like big armies and big dinos like the Giga and Karkar. But like by itself, I'd say it's pretty bad. Like, yeah, it's really slow. Doesn't do a lot of damage by itself. And also not that tanky. But obviously it deals the thorns damage if anything hits it. But I'll still say probably there. Magmasaur, probably the best dino to counter big armies because you can just spam the flame ball thingy, and also incredibly tanky, and it's easy to get players away from you because you can like heat up the area around you. It's just very, very good. It's one of the best dinos in SOTF, I'd say. I might... like, it can easily kill a Giga or Karkar alone. No, I'll put it top A tier, like at the very top. Mammoth can also grab people off their tames. Not that tanky, kinda tanky, but it's not that tanky for its size. Does not do a lot of damage, but all in all, like, I guess it's kind of mid. It's good, but yeah, not the same level as many other creatures. And it does have that status effect where people deal less damage and yeah, they become more tanky or something. But all in all, I'd say maybe, you know, I'll put it above the Allosaurus. I'll put it above the Allosaurus. Oh my god, the list is getting big here. Okay, the Mantis. This might be a very unpopular opinion, but the Mantis is going in S tier. It can absolutely shred through any dino in the game, and it's very hard to hit because of how small it is and how lanky it is. And it does so much damage if you spam right click. Megaloceros, I mean, if you've been watching this channel, you already know. It's the fastest dino in the game, incredibly easy to use the compound bow off of it. The male is pretty mid, but the female is incredibly good because it's so hard to hit, it's so small, but it's so incredibly fast if you use the spam jump. Very, very OP creature. Megapithecus, definitely the worst out of the bosses in my opinion. Still very solid though, because it's a boss and it still has a ton of health, still does a decent amount of damage, but has an incredibly big hitbox and everything. But I feel like it's still good, like it's still solid. But I'll put it right below the dragon actually. I feel like that's fitting. Megatherium, when the Megatherium has the bug buff, it's without a doubt one of the most OP dinos in the game. Like, I shredded a Giga in one of my videos with it. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty meh without the bug buff, but with the bug buff, it's so incredibly OP that I want to put it there. Yeah, I'd say that's fitting. Mesopithecus, very useful creature, not the most OP, but very useful. Definitely the best shoulder pet in SOTF. So just because of how like useful it is in on foot combat, I guess, I feel like we can put it like, I'll put it there. It's useful, not OP, but useful. Microraptor, not tameable. Moschops, I mean, it does a decent amount of damage, but it has no health, and you can't whistle it onto someone. If you try to whistle it, it will just automatically run away instead. Yeah. Otter, pretty small, hard to hit, hard to kill, but we're gonna put it behind the Compy. Yeah. Oviraptor. Oviraptor is actually very underrated. Most people use the Oviraptor to play C4 on them and then send them to the enemy. And it's very useful for that. So I think I'm going to put it above the Gallimimus just for that. Because it's so fast, it's hard to like predict. And yeah, so small, and it's easy to like C4 players with it. Or C4 armies or whatever. Ovis, yeah. This might be a very unpopular opinion again, but the Packy, not that bad. Like, it's incredibly fast if you use the charge. It also has, like, a resistance to damage if you hit his head. But apart from those two things, not the greatest. So we're gonna put it... I feel like it's probably more useful than a Bronto, right? I'd say so. Packy Rhino. I don't know. There. It's just not fast. It's not good in any way, shape, or form. Paracer, same thing there. Like, it's very slow, doesn't do a lot of damage, has a decent amount of health, but it's a very big target. I don't know. I'll put it right behind the Diplo. Parasaur, I don't know. I feel like we should put it behind the Pachyrhino, because the Pachyrhino is at least kind of tanky, but yeah, the Parasaur is just not it. Pegomastax, kind of the same as the Compy and the Otter. I guess it's kind of faster, so you can use C4 on it. So we're gonna put it above it there. Yeah. Phiomia, I mean, everyone knows it's... No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Piranha, not tameable. Procopteron. The Procopteron is definitely S tier in my opinion, just because of how incredibly easy it is to get out of painful situations. It's very hard to hit. It's kind of tanky at level 3. It can also do tons of knockback with the kick, and yeah, there are no big downsides to using the Procopteron except for the fact that it can be netted, but all of these creatures can be netted, so it doesn't really matter. Pteranodon, not tameable. Scorpion. It's so slow, but it can make players get stuck in their claws, I guess, and that's like the only useful thing with these guys, so we're gonna put it there, above the Pachyrhino. Prolovia, I don't think these are in SOTF. I've never seen them before, so I'm just gonna put it in F tier because I've never seen it. Quetzal, not tameable. Raptor can pounce players, but has no health and does not do a lot of damage, but just because of the fact that it can pounce players, I'm gonna put it above the Aranio. Because, like, the thing with the Aranio, I could definitely put it in S tier, but the Aranio is only good when multiple Aranios are around it. Only one Aranio is so easy to kill, so I'm just gonna put the Raptor above the Aranio, and the Aranio will stay in B tier. Even though they're incredibly OP when there are, like, 10 of them. The Reaper definitely used to be the strongest creature in SOTF, but after the nerf, it's like, yeah, I'll say... I don't know, there maybe? I feel like a Karkinos would probably beat a Reaper at this stage. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I feel like, yeah. Yeah, I like that. The Allosaurus, like one Allosaurus would definitely lose to a Reaper probably. But the only reason the Allosaurus is this high is because of the pack bonus. So, yeah, the Allosaurus will stay. Rex, another one of the strongest creatures in SOTF. It does a lot of damage, has a decent amount of health, but it's incredibly slow and very easy to kill with the compound bow and the flame arrows. So I'm gonna put it... between these two. There. Yeah. An Amarga beats a Rex. A Calicatherium has the Rock Throw, which beats the Rex. But the Rex beats all of these below it. Yeah, I feel like that's fitting. The Rock Elemental is so strong, but it's incredibly easy to counter it with the Giga, the Karkar, or Explosives. But apart from that, it's so good. So I feel like we can definitely, like, comfortably put it... Should we put it there? We're gonna put it there. I know it's very easy to kill with the rocket launcher, but apart from that, they're so OP, man. They're so good. I love them. Roll Rat, I hate to put it there, but the Roll Rat is probably the most OP creature in SOTF now. It's either that or the Stag, but the Roll Rat, like, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't even net it if it's rolling, if it still has its armor. The only way to counter a Roll Rat is either if it hits the water, or you have to, like, wait until its armor breaks so you can net gun it. Roll Rat is so OP if you get enough momentum. Yeah, I feel like... yeah, that's a good spot for for it. Sabertooth, good early game tame, but like late game, pretty mid because it doesn't have a lot of stamina. But obviously better than the direwolf. But the direwolf has the pack bonus, so we're gonna put it right below the direwolf. You know, no, right below the capro. The capro would beat a saber. Yeah, I might actually switch those around. No, because of the direwolf's pack bonus is so good. Yeah, yeah, okay. I feel like this is right. Sarko, I mean, it's just mid. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just mid. It's really fast in the water, he can throw people off their tames, which... Yeah, I'm gonna put it above the Carno, but below the Gigantopithecus. Yeah, I feel like that's good. Cinemacrops, I mean, it's pretty crucial, but it's not tameable. Spinosaurus, it's basically just a better version of the Rex. I think it has less health, but it does more damage and is faster. So, yeah, I feel like you could probably put it there. Nah, probably... Nah, you know what? I'm just gonna put it right above the Rex. I feel like all these creatures beat the Spino or are better than the Spino. Yeah, I'd say that's fitting. Stegosaurus, probably one of the most tankiest creatures in SOTF, but obviously does not do a lot of damage and it's incredibly slow. But I'll put it... In the end game, it's like very high, but like all in all, I'll put it here. And this is mainly just because of the fact that it's incredibly tanky. But then again, the Bronto is also... But the Bronto has a bigger hitbox. Yeah, I feel like... No, we have to put it further down. Maybe around here. No, it's better than the Doed. There. Yeah, that's fitting, right? Tapejara, not tameable. Terrorbird. The Terrorbird is small, it's fast, it's hard to hit. And you can glide with it. But it doesn't have a lot of health, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. But as a movement mount, I feel like we should probably put it there. Yeah, I'd prefer the Capro and the Direwolf over it, but I prefer the Terrorbird over the Saber. Yeah, I'd say that fits. Therizino used to be very OP in this game, but now it's kind of like worse than a Rex. I'd even go so far to say that it's worse than... Nah, it's probably better than the Reaper, right? What wins in a fight between the Therizino and the Reaper? Probably the Reaper because of the knockback. Yeah. Thylacoleo used to be very good, but now you can't even hold weapons on them, so now they're... Yeah, kind of just mid. Like, they do a decent amount of damage, have a decent amount of health, but apart from that, they're pretty meh. Except for the fact that they can climb walls, but... To me, it's very important to be able to hold weapons on the tame, and just because of that, I'm just gonna put it at the top in C tier. And that might be, like, very controversial, but that's my opinion. This whole list is my opinion. Like, this is nothing objective. This is nothing 100% correct. This is my opinion. I'm just gonna get that out there. Titanoboa. I'm just gonna put the Titanoboa at the top in D, like... Yeah, it's just there. Titanonerma, not tameable. Titanosaur. The Titanosaur does an insane amount of damage, but is so easy to kill because of how slow it is. It doesn't usually survive in the storm because of its turning radius. And it has, obviously, the biggest hitbox in SOTF. And just because of that, I feel like we should probably put it... Yeah, at the bottom in B tier. Yeah, right? You know what? No. I'm gonna put it at the top in C tier. Oh man, people are gonna be so pissed off. Triceratops, I just used them today, and they're pretty good. Or for you, it's yesterday, but yeah, they're pretty good. Like, obviously not the best, but the knockback is pretty good, and it can also charge and stun lock people. And just because of that, I'm actually gonna put it above the Direwolf. Troodon, one of the best smaller tames in the game if you have a lot of them, but also so easy to kill, so I'm gonna put it here. You know what? No, Aranio is better. Unicorn, well, the Unicorn is basically just an Equus, but you get more tokens from killing it, so I guess I should put it above the Equus. Where did I put the Equus? Where's the Equus? There's the Equus. There. The Velonosaur is tanky, and it can hit people off their tames, but it's pretty slow, and, like, it's very bad in, like, close combat. So I'll put it above the Terrorbird right there. Vulture, not tameable. Woolly Rhino. Woolly Rhino does an insane amount of damage, but it's so easy to kill. You can netgun it, you can hit it from behind, and it won't be able to do a thing. But when it hits people, it's pretty strong. like if you have momentum, but then again, it's kind of difficult to build momentum at times. But I'm gonna put it above the... I'll say above the Carcinos, like that. The Tyrannus is definitely better than the Spino and Rex in my opinion. It has the Fear Roar, so you can fear smaller animals, and it can also boost your animals, and they're around the same strength as the Rex, but you can actually net gun the Tyrannus, which is kind of a downside. But I'll put it here. Okay. So now for the final changes. I'll put the Amarga actually above both of these. Amarga is very strong. I feel like the Shalicatherium could probably go there, to be honest. Yeah. I'm actually gonna move these like that. The Bronto can go a couple places up like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list. I just want to like say it one last time. This is my opinion. You are completely free to have your own opinion, but don't hate me. This is just what I think. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I would love to hear what you think about this list. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.